Okay, so in this section, we're going to talk about human evolution. In the previous section, we were following the evolution of deuterostome, going from the echinoderm, or starfish, right, to the mammals. And so we kind of ended at the development of the different characteristics of mammal. And so now we're going to focus on human evolution. Okay, so the evolutionary tree consists of primates, and primates are a mammalian subgroup that includes humans, but it also includes apes and monkeys. And lastly, prosimian, which are primates, but they are not monkeys or ape or human. So this example would be like a lemur or a shrew. Okay, so here's some example of some primates. So the early primate looked a little bit more like a shrew. So here we have a little shrew here, and you can see that these are all examples of primates. Really cute. And so in terms of human evolution, the order under which we fall under would be primates, whereas the family that we would fall under would be hominids. And so here we have this evolution, also commonly known as the march of life. Okay. So here is an example of the emergence of early human, and our oldest ancestors that we're aware of is also known as the Salacrus Paleontolus. And so they were believed to exist 6 million years ago. This remain was actually found in Africa, in a lake around Chad in Africa, and the skeleton actually was in many different pieces because it had been sitting there for like millions of years, right? So it's amazing that they were able to actually put together all these little pieces to actually form a full skull. And so there's only really one skull that has been discovered, and they named the skull Tomai, which I believe means lake. Here we have a few other genius of the hominids that we can kind of see of the early human, and take into consideration that evolution is not going to be linear, right? So while I know that previously when we looked at walk of life and the images that you've probably seen before, where we go from typically like a monkey, and as we move toward humans, it looks pretty linear, but human development, as well as any other development over time and the evolution, is a little bit more like a family tree. Like it's not linear. It does have a lot of different branches. And so I'm showing you here some other genuses of other animals that we believe that are ancestral to modern human. And so we have, and you can kind of see they all have similar features, but as the features kind of change over time as it's emerging to early human. The earliest hominids is believed to have originated from Africa. And so one of the things that has been noticed with regards to early human is that we start seeing the use of tools. And so this suggests that with evolution and emergence of human evolution, that the brains started getting larger, they became more intelligent, and they started going from very simple tools to more complex tools to actually be able to build fires, right? And so here are some examples of some early tool use right here. So the Homo habilis, which emerged about 1.9 million years ago, what was observed with regards to their skull is that they tend to have larger brain case, but their face and their teeth start getting a lot smaller compared to Australopithecus. It's believed to maybe be one of the direct ancestors of humans. And so here is an Australopithecus, and so these hominids were believed to be the first one where hominids started to stand erect and become bipedal. So meaning we're walking on our 2 feet. And so they were probably the earliest human ancestor. It's believed that they arose about 4 million years ago. And oftentimes we will refer to the first bipedal as Lucy. So this is kind of like the common name. What they found with Lucy is that the brain was a little smaller, more ape-like. She was believed to stand upright and was able to walk bipedally, similar to the way humans walk. And these little footprints that we're observing here, these are footprints that are believed to be dated back to 3.7 million years ago. Okay. So the next set of hominids that we're going to look at is the Homo habilis and the Homo erectus. So Homo habilis is believed to evolve about 2.4 to 1.4 million years ago. It's likely that they're omnivorous, so meaning that they're consuming both plant matter as well as animals. And we start seeing some use of stone tools. So they're starting to apply some simple stone tools based on research. Is believed that they probably were starting to develop speech, not a full language, but starting to develop some speech to communicate. And then you have Homo erectus, which evolved about 1.9 to 0.15 million years ago. These genus is believed to have larger brains. You can see that their face is starting to become a lot flatter compared to the Homo habilis. So you can see here it's a little bit more protruding of a jawline, a little more protruding of a nose line, becomes a little bit flatter. And then we start seeing more advanced tools. So we start seeing the use of more advanced tools, possibly the use of fire. And the first Homo erectus that was uncovered was believed to also originate from Africa. And then over time to start migrating into Europe and into Asia. So as we move through time, we're moving through Neanderthal and Cro-Magnons. So Neanderthal, what is observed with them is that they tend to have massive brow ridge. You can kind of see here that they kind of tend to have massive brow ridge and their forehead is a little bit lower. You start seeing the nose and jaw and teeth are kind of protruding forward compared to when we look at Homo sapien, their face is starting to get a little bit more flat. There's evidence that this genus actually possibly interbred with Homo sapien. So, and you also start seeing that they're starting to become a little bit more culturally advanced, meaning they're starting to communicate a little bit more. They're starting to develop sturdy buildings to kind of help with regards to protective of outside environment, right? So we start seeing them development of homes. They start having more stone tools. And then what's interesting is we start seeing that they start developing more of a culture. So these Homo neanderthalensis, we find that oftentimes they will bury their dead with flowers and tools. So this kind of suggests culturally that maybe they're starting to develop like a religion. It's unsure, right? But there's speculation based on looking at the culture that maybe they're starting to develop religion. And then we move on to Homo sapien, which is the genus that we're part of, and the species that we're part of. And here with Homo sapiens, the early Homo sapiens, what we notice is that they're starting to develop a lot more advanced tools. And so they're starting to be able to develop knife-like blades, they're able to throw spears, and unfortunately, Homo sapiens are also believed to be responsible for extinction of many of the larger mammals, such as the giant sloth and mammoth, the saber-toothed tigers, giant ox, because we started hunting, not individually, but we started also hunting collectively. Homo sapiens were also the first to be found to have like a full language, and in their culture they start developing artwork with regards to their culture. So they're one of the first Homo that we actually start seeing more culture kind of based on like the history, that we're starting to see more development of languages and culture. And so this is kind of our last slide, just kind of re-looking at the trends. And so while it's semi-linear because we can kind of see the progression, I want you to kind of notice that you can kind of see that there are some overlaps with time, right? So like I said, the development isn't exactly linear. It's a little bit more branching, but we can kind of see the development of the primates developing into our modern Homo sapien, and a lot of this has to do with the brain starting to develop. And as the brain starts to develop, we actually see a lot of other behavior traits, right? So we start seeing like the tools start to be developed, start to get a little more complex. This ability to then not only use stone tools, but now be able to develop fire. And then as we're moving and progressing a little bit more evolution, we start seeing speech, communication starting to develop. We start seeing evidence of more of a community, right? So they start developing cultures not only for communicating, but also maybe possibly religion, art. And so you can see the development and progression to where Homo sapiens are now by looking at some of the evidence that we see with ancestry. Okay, so that's all I have for you for this chapter. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.